Chapter 1 of the First Violin. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The First Violin by Jessie Fothergill. Chapter 1. Miss Hallam. Wonderful weather for April. Yes, it certainly was wonderful. I fully agreed with the sentiment expressed at different points of the day by the different members of my family. But I did not follow their example and seek enjoyment out of doors pleasure in that balmy spring air. Trouble, the first trouble of my life, had laid her hand heavily upon me. The world felt disjointed and upside down, I very helpless and lonely in it. I had two sisters. I had a father and a mother, but none the less was I unable to share my grief with any one of them. Nay, it had been an absolute relief to me when first one, then another of them had left the house on business or pleasure intent, and I, after watching my father go down the garden walk, and seeing the gate close after him, knew that, save for Jane, our domestic, who was carolling lustily to herself in the kitchen regions, I was alone in the house. I was in the drawing-room. Once secure of solitude, I put down the sewing with which I had been pretending to employ myself, and went to the window, a pleasant sunny bay. In that window stood a small work-table with a flower-pot upon it, containing a lilac primula. I remember it distinctly to this day, and I am likely to carry the recollection with me so long as I live. I leaned my elbows upon this table and gazed across the fields, green with spring grass, tenderly lighted by an April sun, to where the river, the Skern, shone with a pleasant, homely, silvery glitter, twining through the smiling meadow till he bent round the solemn overhanging cliff, crowned with mournful firs, which went by the name of the Rifted or Riven Skorn. In some such delightful mead might the white-armed Nausicaa have tossed her cowslip balls among the other maids. Perhaps by some such river might Persephone have paused to gather the daffodil, the fatal flower beside the rill. Light clouds flitted across the sky. A waft of wind danced in at the open window, ruffling my hair mockingly, and bearing with it the deep sound of a church clock striking 4. As if the striking of the hour had been a signal for the breaking of a spell, the silence that had prevailed came to an end. Wheels came rolling along the road up to the door, which, however, was at the other side of the house. A visitor for my father, no doubt, I thought indifferently, and he has gone out to read the funeral service for a dead parishioner. How strange! I wonder how clergymen and doctors can ever get accustomed to the grim contrasts amid which they live. I suffered my thoughts to wander off in some such track as this, but they were all through dominated by a heavy sense of oppression, that threatening hand of a calamity which I feared was about to overtake me, and I had again forgotten the outside world. The door was opened. Jane held it open and said nothing, a trifling habit of hers which used to cause me much annoyance, and a tall woman walked slowly into the room. I rose and looked earnestly at her, surprised and somewhat nervous when I saw who she was. Miss Hallam of Hallam Grange, our near neighbor, but a great stranger to us, nevertheless, so far, that is, as personal intercourse went. "Your servant told me that everyone was out except Miss May," she remarked, in a harsh, decided voice, as she looked not so much at me as towards me, and I perceived that there was something strange about her eyes. "Yes, I'm sorry," I began doubtfully. She had sallow, strongly marked, but proud and aristocratic features, and a manner with more than a tinge of imperiousness. Her face, her figure, her voice were all familiar, yet strange to me. Familiar, because I had heard of her, and been in the habit of occasionally
Sample complete. Ready to continue?